Hello everyone and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. I hope you're all doing well and ready for a deep dive, because today we're unpacking a topic that has set the fandom buzzing. We're talking about the whispers, the sidelong glances, the quiet pauses, and the kind of speculation that only grows louder when the couple in question is Ozan Akbaba and Sinem. If you've been following their journey, you already know why the internet can't stop talking. The story that keeps surfacing is simple to summarize but complicated to understand. There's talk that something may be testing their bond. And as always, we're going to walk through every clue, match it against what we know, and try to piece together what's really fueling all this noise. Let's be real, celebrity lives play out under a magnifying glass. When two stars command so much affection, even tiny changes can feel like earthquakes to their audience. That's precisely why every glance between Ozan and Sinem has felt like a headline, every silence like a statement. They were seen together, they were linked, and even when they kept their cards close to the vest, the connection between them sparked an avalanche of theories. The cameras picked up warmth, and fans embraced it, dreaming of a love story that would leap off the screen and into real life. But lately, a different tone has crept into the narrative. The rumor mill has been churning hard, filling timelines with claims of tension and hints of coldness. So what happened? Is there a real story behind the murmur? That's exactly what we're going to untangle. To make sense of it, we have to rewind. Ozan Akbaba and Sinem first came into close orbit while working on a major production that turned into a phenomenon. From their earliest scenes together, something clicked. The camera adored them. Clips of their moments spread across platforms, lighting up comment sections and sparking edits, threads, and endless speculation. Viewers credited not just the story but the energy between the leads for making those episodes must-watch TV. Offset, candid photos and subtle gestures kept building that narrative, likes on posts, playful remarks, and the kind of public appearances that suggested a closeness deeper than professional courtesy. They never spelled anything out, but the ambiguity became part of the allure. Things intensified during the pandemic era, when ordinary routines shifted and personal lives became strangely public through little windows on a phone screen. Suddenly they were spotted on the same getaways, at gatherings that felt intimate even from a distance, and the puzzle pieces seemed to fit. Hopeful fans celebrated what looked like a fairy tale gently unfolding in real time. Yet, the entertainment world rarely serves a simple plot. Over time, sightings together grew rarer. The number of comments and reactions between their accounts dipped. The light-hearted back and forth that once felt effortless went quiet. That's where the current storm gathers force, whispers of a disconnect, theories about unseen friction. Some of the speculation points toward professional pressure and diverging creative choices. The talk is that Ozan has been eyeing heavier, riskier projects. Roles with raw edges, stories that demand silence as much as speech, the kind of work that tests an actor's limits. Meanwhile, people close to the conversation suggest that Sinem has leaned into projects with a broad appeal, romantic arcs, emotionally accessible plots, and characters who resonate with a wide audience. If true, none of this is dramatic in itself, artists evolve at their own pace. But when two people are navigating life together while steering careers toward different horizons, even small differences can feel amplified. Then there's the weight of the spotlight. Agencies, contracts, brand partnerships, festival calendars, these are tides that pull hard. The public expects availability and sparkle, while the craft demands quiet and depth. One person may feel crowded by the glare, the other might feel compelled to stay visible because momentum matters in this industry. When those rhythms fall out of sync, the relationship can start carrying more than its share of the load. Add the constant hum of online commentary and you have a pressure cooker, even for the most centered couple. And of course, there are the more personal angles, the ones that tabloids love to exaggerate. Stories of jealousy, misunderstood messages, or third parties fanning embers for their own advantage. It's the oldest script in the book. A stray comment gets reinterpreted, a candid photo gets cropped just so, an anonymous quote appears at the exact moment the audience is most eager to believe it. You know how this goes, every glance can be turned into a cliffhanger if that's the outcome someone wants to sell. What's notable is that neither Ozan nor Sinem has gone on record with a dramatic pronouncement. If anything, they've favored discretion, calm statements, careful words, a preference for privacy over performance. In the past, they swatted away breakup rumors without indulging the frenzy, but they also resisted painting themselves into a corner with definitions and labels. That restraint inspires respect, yet it also leaves space for imagination, space that the public has eagerly filled. When you look closely at their feeds and recent appearances, you do start to notice patterns. There was a stretch when the mutual likes and comments slowed to a trickle. The playful acknowledgements that once seemed routine were conspicuously absent. For fans who read meaning into every heart icon and caption, that quiet felt like a statement. Whether it was an agreed-upon boundary, a practical decision due to schedules, or a sign of distance, we're left to guess. Their latest projects also underline the contrast in approach. Ozan has poured himself into roles defined by grit and gravity, partners with directors who value experimentation, scripts that linger long after the final shot. Sinem has continued to explore roles with warmth and texture, characters that invite the audience in and keep them close, stories that spark conversations in living rooms and group chats. Neither path is lesser, they're simply different roads. But different roads can tug at a shared calendar, a shared rhythm, a shared sense of what comes next. Then came the moment everyone's talking about, a high-profile event where both attended, but separately. Cameras were ready, as always. What followed was a sequence of frames that felt colder than expected. No warm embrace, no shared smile meant for the galleries, just a polite acknowledgement that felt more professional than personal. Witnesses described distance. The photos traveled fast. And once those images took hold, interpretations multiplied. In a world that loves symmetry, two people standing a few steps apart can look like an entire story. Is it possible they're simply evolving in different directions? That an intense spark has softened into mutual respect? Absolutely. Relationships are living things, and growth doesn't always look like a fairy tale. Sometimes it looks like seasoned affection choosing quiet over performance, or like two people deciding that preserving dignity matters more than feeding headlines. The scrutiny of an audience can turn a natural transition into a public crisis, but the reality behind closed doors may be far more measured. Here's the truth at the center of all the noise: interpretation rules the day. Fans who have invested years of emotion in Ozan and Sinem are determined to find answers in every frame. One side insists the calm is a sign of stability. The other side is certain it means distance. And between those camps sits a mountain of content, much of it filtered, edited, framed for maximum reaction. Paparazzi chase the decisive shot. Tabloids chase the definitive quote. That doesn't mean the story is fabricated, but it does mean the story is curated. Still, the persistence of the rumor says something. Maybe it signals a genuine shift. Maybe it reflects how the public perceives them now compared to the height of the frenzy. Once upon a time, the pair felt like a promise on the verge of fulfillment. Today, there's a shadow of doubt around the edges. The tension we're referring to isn't necessarily a fight behind closed doors. It's the tautness that stretches between expectation and reality, between the versions of them that live online and the private humans making choices off camera. For fans, that tension can be heartbreaking. It's tough to watch a narrative you cherished begin to fray. For Ozan and Sinem, it likely means waking up to commentary about every silence, every outfit, every seat at an event. It means knowing that a single glance can birth a week's worth of headlines, and a single unshared caption can spiral into a theory. So where does that leave us? With a delicate mosaic. On one tile, we have fewer public interactions. On another, divergent career energies. On another, a carefully kept privacy that terrifies rumor-hungry timelines. On another, a cool encounter in a hot room where flashbulbs go off like fireworks. Put together, the mosaic tells a story about possibility, not proof. If the past is any guide, Ozan and Sinem will keep steering clear of the frenzy. They will work, they will choose their roles with intention, and they will show us only what they wish to share. And perhaps that's the quiet lesson in all of this. We do not own their story, even if we feel we've lived it alongside them. We can admire, we can hope, we can speculate, but we do not know. Until something changes in the way they speak to the public, we are left with interpretations. Some will see distance and call it final. Others will see two professionals prioritizing craft over spectacle. The truth may fall somewhere in between, complicated, human, and resistant to neat labels. What's undeniable is the magic that brought them into focus in the first place. Their early scenes together, their easy cadence, the sense that they understood each other's rhythms both on and off the set, those things were real to the people who watched. They mattered. And whether this chapter closes with a quiet bow or opens into something new, the impression they made is part of the fabric of contemporary Turkish pop culture. We'll keep watching thoughtfully, not breathlessly. We'll keep listening for what they actually say, not what we want them to say. And as always, we'll keep separating the signal from the noise, even when the noise is very, very loud. That's our take for today on this delicate, much debated topic. If you've enjoyed this deep dive from Turkish Spotlight Secrets, tell us how you read the signs. Do you think there's strain between Ozan Baba and Sinem, or are we witnessing the natural ebb and flow of two artists with demanding lives? Share your thoughts below, we're always curious to hear what you think. If you're new here, hit subscribe so you never miss the next update. And if you've been with us from the beginning, thank you for trusting us to handle your favorite stories with care. We'll see you in the next video, right here, where we keep the spotlight bright and the secrets thoughtful.